Unmute, sir. Unmute.
Yeah.
A very good evening to all of you. On behalf of Laghu Udyog Bharati Karnataka chapter, a very warm welcome to all the participants. For the benefit of our new and non-members, I would like to briefly introduce Laghu Udyog Bharati. Uh, Laghu Udyog Bharati Karnataka chapter is catering to 24 districts of Karnataka and works towards the empowerment of entrepreneurs in the micro and small sectors. It plays an important and active role in promoting trade and investments in the state. Being the apex chamber of Karnataka for MSMEs, it regularly interacts with senior government officials, both from the state and the center, on critical issues concerning MSME sector. LUBK is involved in activities including capacity building, industry visits, interactive meetings, participation in national and international exhibitions, hosting of international and national exhibitions, hosting of and organizing international business delegations for technology transfer, B2B, and joint ventures and collaborations, and of course, promoting leadership among women entrepreneurs. Coming back to today's webinar, we have with us Sri Sharad Gandhi, who is a global manufacturing and technology strategist. He will be speaking to us on the topic impact of COVID-19 on the manufacturing sector and how. Let me have the pleasure of introducing the speaker. Shri Sharad Gandhi is the business strategist with over 25 years of business and technology experience and a thought leader in automation initiatives and B2B driven technology platforms and services. He advises clients in making critical investments decisions for various technology transfer program, outsourcing deals and mergers and acquisitions, in providing technology sales support, and by performing due diligence and developing deal structure for mutual benefit. He has advised a number of clients and worked with the top management in India and globally in strategy, processes, billing, CRM, order and fulfillment, operations, and finance. He has developed business and technology solution for leading clients. He has worked with leading telecom companies globally, including British Telecom, Vodafone, Elisa, Finland, Zero 2 Telefonica, AT&T, T-Mobile, Reliance Communications, Vodafone SR, CSL, Telecom Cell, Indosat, MTN, Huawei, Mobilel, Site, and etc. As a chemical engineering graduate from IIT Mumbai and MS from University of Virginia, Sharad has pursued his research interests in instrumentation, process control, simulation, and optimization. He continues to live his interest through being thought leader and consultant in M2M and IoT. In India, he has advised and provided expert consulting to one of the private ISPs, Internet Service Provider in Udaipur in 1990s for setting up ISP business and operations. He pioneered and successfully encouraged organizations and people to use internet in southern Rajasthan, including rural area in that era. In his professional career at Reliance, Amdocs, and IBM, he had developed business and IT strategy and roadmap for telcos in new technology domain, financial plans, business case, and ROI estimations. I now officially hand over the session to Sri Sharad Gandhi. Please, sir.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon, and it's my honor to present to the great people here who have led India in manufacturing and creating businesses in different domains. We all face this challenge, which has happened. Maybe called it may be called a man-made challenge or due to a virus or whatever it is. But what we have learned many factors in this duration, and we need to also evolve new strategy and also ways to do business, how we using new technologies and all. My colleague earlier have discussed different approaches. I earlier like including the strategy and what other things can different businesses can do, and what they can how they can use their existing asset, re repurpose the asset. Like so different ideas have been pitched here. Today I'm going to talk about a little different things, because it's you who develop the business. You have developed the business, you have run it, you understand your client, your business. And I am proposing here a new methodology which is based on you, and which will help you in develop the strategy for your sustenance, and if needed, exit the present business and diversify into the new one. So let's see who understand your business best. Of course, you. It's not a consultant who comes out from somewhere and says, okay, this is the business. Even a consultant like me or anyone goes to the client, he only understand your business, take data from you and present it and give a different perspective and present it to you. So it's you who understand your business. And of course, your customer and your market. The best judge of your customer, what services they should get so that customer is happy, how to deal with them, what needs to be done, and you can guide customer, and of course your team, your stakeholders like suppliers, partners, etc. It's you who can understand and judge the best, and that's the experience you can leverage in this difficult time to come up with your own strategy. And that's what we say, you understand your position, your financial position, your knowledge, your experience, and all, and it's you. And that's what we are going to leverage. And to leverage that, we have developed a methodology. I call it SELF, SELF, and I'll detail it in the subsequent part of this presentation. Okay. Coincidentally, it happened like after I shared my thoughts that I would be speaking about this. I saw this article on Times of India a couple of days back, and it's about, I think the title reads all. Now it is not the time for the consultative based decision making, right? Or database decision making or technology based decision making. It is more decision making based on the conscience. And I'll give you one example. A cloth merchant, when he goes and in a market and he wants to buy, he's a wholesaler and he wants to identify what to buy. Okay, what does he do? He takes the data and collects data like thousands or millions of different products on the shelf, and then decides which product to be he should buy for his customer in a remote area in the village, for example. Okay, as a distributor, he doesn't have this data analytics tool, or even if he has, he will not. But his conscience is at play at every time. What he has done in last so many years as while selling to his client and buying, he gathered he consciously, or I would say unconsciously, collected data which are useful for making a decision for himself. Will leverage the same capability, which is like, you can say, the knowledge which is conscious in the conscious form, or explicit knowledge, okay, is, or written knowledge or knowledge in data form is very little. Okay, what you have inside your as a in the form of experience, as a form of what you have learned or practice, it's like infinitely times more. And I'm truly saying infinite. It's not like 90%, 10% as a tip of iceberg, which we
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Iceberg, which is,
sorry
yes.
to interrupt you, sir. The slides are not moving, sir.
No, I'm still on this slide. So I'm just creating a perspective.
Okay, sir.
Okay, for the process which I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, and this process is inspired by one of the it's called neuro-linguistic programming, and we have a practitioners. I've taken the inspiration from them. It's they are based out of Chennai, and I would like proudly announce their name. It's Antonio and Harini, and you can check out about them. And some people may not believe on the concept of this, and they connect it with religion or something, but religion and all are somewhat connected. But nowadays it is called mindfulness, and different names are given to the same concept. But we'll go through the process for finding what is best strategy for you using your own experience, your own data. And that is the methodology, very simple methodology. The only thing which is required is the a consistent approach, and which can be done by guided professional, or experienced professional through so I'll go through it and I'll explain what it means. Yeah. So the same thing which I spoke couple of, so like let's say what you see as a like documented information or the information collected in computers. Like I'm an IoT practitioner, so I collect data is like IoT or health data. Okay, through MRI scan, I can collect tons of data when you are connected. A person, a patient is connected to that, and then I can take a decision based on that information, saying that uh, the patient is doing well or not, or he needs what, which is fine. That's like simple science which we all use and it works. Okay, and doctors also use some, and then the expert comes in as an intelligence. Those who are intelligent people, they deliver. They can quickly connect the things and give the recommendation. So same thing happens. You use your intelligence here and come out with your uh, own path forward. Okay. Why I'm saying path forward is because it is applicable in almost every domain of life, whether it is house with your children, whether it is your uh, office, or so everywhere. The last, which is like intuition, and which is not very well defined in the science, but everyone knows that it exists. Whether it is Einstein, he thought of something and he come out with some idea which is correlated. Many examples are there in the science fraternity as well that intuition plays a big role. The formal, we are trying to make this, and intuition is what? Intuition is your
Intuition is your
experience in
experience
past.
in past.
Sorry,
Sorry,
some
sorry.
echo is there. Okay. Can anyone go on mute? I think it's echoing. Okay.
Okay.
So
So
intuition is
intuition.
what? Is anyone echoing or somehow?
Please continue, sir. Please continue. I'm muting that person.
Sure.
Please continue, sir.
Okay, fine, thanks. So,
So
okay, intuition is
intuition is.
I've removed him, sir.
not.
Please continue, sir.
Okay, fine, thanks. So okay, good. So intuition is a collection of information. Okay, let me go back to the presentation slide mode. That is here. Okay. So an intuition is also not like you can say it's not some like a miracle or something. It is the experience which you have collected, or person has collected over the period, the knowledge which is been collected, like and the company which you keep. Okay, so all these, and like for example, even 1 year child also collects that information and it learns from its parents and it starts walking and all this. The same logic applies here. And the difference, like when it says you can information and intelligence, you can make it technology and data driven, whereas intuition is driven by you, the person, the center figure. Okay, technology, you have tools, BI, predictive analytics, you can plan ahead, you can say AI ML will bring some kind of intelligence into the data and say, okay, if you do this, this will happen, and things become automatic. Okay, so this is all data driven decision making, which is very important in many operational things. But when it comes to circumstances where like, okay, you can do risk assessment as well based on the data, but then it's risk is a probability game. Okay, but in sometimes intuition plays little bigger role. It not only it takes your own experience, it also helps bring up a new dimension, and these practice is being brought in. It's not just intuition, but it's like emotions. Okay, as a part of, like, you can say emotional intelligence, or some say EQ is one of the big factor which is come up. Okay, so these are all factors which are coming up into the form of design thinking, systemic thinking, and the methodology which we are proposing here as a self methodology which will guide through. Okay, information intelligence, these are like fast and fact based, because you have data and it's a formula driven. So it's like it responds based on those data and that equations. Okay, and but the information is very small amount compared to a total experience a person might have in his lifetime. Okay. uh, and of course it doesn't have human touch. On the other hand, intuition, or I'm just limiting the things by intuition, but just to make all three looks high, but you can say your own experience and knowledge and everything which is leading to intuitive way of working. Okay. So that is like, you can actually embrace your partner and stakeholder, like your employee. You can see them, whether they are comfortable in that environment, how is their life going. You can take care of them, you can discuss, you can negotiate. If you negotiate based on, say, okay, salary of an employee based on what the market trend is, he will always ask more. But if you can see his problem and he can see your problem, you can come out with a negotiating point, right? And you can come out with maybe a win-win solution. You can offer him stock options, you can do many other financial things. And of course it is human centric. So if you are in, if your employee is in trouble, you can always use your human touch approach, and then you can come out, it's ethical and many things, so come out with better options there. And the last is out of box thinking. And I think out of the box thinking, which people like, so normally what happens, if you have a data driven things, you would like confine your decision making to limits, like there are boundaries. But here there are no boundaries. Okay. When you just have to imagine way beyond what you can see, and then start using your own experience and formulating the solution around it. So these are all possibilities in this. So what we do in self. Okay. Self is like a 4-stage approach. Okay. First stage is a shift. So what happens like in reality, when someone is in deep trouble, okay, or let's say in jungle there is a fear. Okay, because of the fear he panics, and if a person panics, he will try to fly away. That's natural response system of our which is tuned in our mind for years. But as a smart human being, what you can do alternative, you won't have time, so the immediate innate response comes out from your is like that. Okay, when you see a lion, just run away to a safer place. Okay. So the same situation, when in a panic situation, when there is something happens, you start thinking of running away, or you start thinking of, and the decision may not be right, or fully thoroughly thought through. Okay. Now, so what do you do? Shift away, shift your mindset from what I call is from negative thinking. You can see people call it negative thinking, or I say it unresourceful state of mind. Okay, the time when you are deep, you are saddened, and then you want, whatever you do, like nothing works. You prepare a proposal to the client, you are not doing well, like proposal doesn't go well, it doesn't go through, because so that's the kind of state of mind, and everyone talks about it. Like for example, a player, when he jumps, he goes into the ground, and like, and take any cricket player, like I'm sure all of you must be watch cricket, right? Or any, so when he goes, does he have what kind of mindset he goes with? He can't go with like all those pain or fear or anything. So these are all unresourceful mindset. So you have to shift out of that mindset or that state of mind, and come in a state of mind of what? The next state of mind for us is where you are more productive, or I would not say productive, you are more efficient, or you are at your peak performance level. Well, so I'll give you one example. Like when a student walks in the, there are like a class going on, about 50 people are sitting there, they are chatting, that everything is happening. As soon as the teacher walks in, you will see the pin drop silent, and it all happens in split second of time. And that's the change of state of mind. Okay. And what we want here is the same speedily change of state of mind to a state where you can perform better. You can deliver output better. So that is the first step of anything that you do. Like for example, if I'm presenting here, I first change my state of mind and then come in this and then I speak. Okay. Of course, I prepared for it. Preparation is always required. That is data and information. But then the next is we can talk about and how to do it. There are methods available to shift the state of mind. Like one example is like, okay, you just take a step back and look at yourself. That is like a famous sentence which you say, like when you are in trouble, okay, take a step back, take a break. Okay. So these are all like simple things. Take a deep breath when then there is a trouble or you become angry. You are told to take the breath and things becomes much better. Okay. So that is the kind of shift we always talk about. Second is enhance. So enhance is the bringing yourself into that peak performance or better good mind state of mind, which is more resourceful, which accesses all those data or information which are available with you at every point, like they are available with you but they are not written or they are not documented, and those information are used to develop your strategy, your next action, next step. Okay. So this again, it takes like it's like an hour or 2 hour long workshop it can take to generate that kind of state of mind, how to come in that state of mind, and then people can do it very fast. Some leaders can, like we can say, how you switch channel, like in TV, you can switch channel like that, and you can switch the state of mind at at and many leaders do that. Okay. So I think I'll not elaborate further on that, and I'll move to leverage, learn, and lead. Okay. So this is leverage is what you leverage your knowledge, your experience to define your own plan. Okay. And we'll go into the planning, and whatever gap is there, you start identify and then learn, take a formal education, and then lead to act on it. Okay. So whatever you do, so that is the third stage, and the forward is like that's a continuous process for the change which we want to bring. So typically, I think most of you are all leaders and understand the importance of first 100 days plan. So what you can get in first 100 days defines you in 1 year and 3 years. Okay. Many of you might know you have dreams, and everyone says dreams are important in life, which is good because dreams give you a perspective into what your future is going to be. And a more formal approach and a methodological approach, which is part of this self methodology, is first you come in the good state of mind, which is resourceful as a part of E, and then of course first split away from the present harsh reality if there is. So we can say switch from any bad emotions you have, turn to something good. Like how you can do is either you can remember your first customer, your first success, and then automatically you'll say, oh yeah, I did so well, I can do the next customer well. So that's the way you keep doing and improving yourself, and you can keep enhancing yourself. So once you have done, the next step what is like visualize yourself what you want to be in 3 years timeline. So that's the plan. Okay. Now here I put visualize. There is another word which is practically which I use, the picture yourself. Picture means like, let's say there is a frame and where you are present, what are you seeing, and just see the movie. What will happen in 3 years? So what is happening? Like take that shot. What do you want to be and what it will look? So you picture yourself. So again, it's you who would set your own future. Okay. Now, from there, what you get is idea of you in 3 years. Your business, your family, your health, your life, your objectives, whatever. So what do you want to see? You are like your wealth, your health. You can include anything, whatever you want to. Now, work on today. So this is all like what options you have. So many options have been iterated in the previous talks by our experienced colleague here. Uh, so you list down the options and maximum 10 options to which are aligned to what you want to see yourself to be. Okay. These options, each one of them, what you can do. Okay, like for example, let's say in your presently you are, I'll give you some example of changes people have tried and did it. Let's say there is a simple cutlery shop, or he changed his shop to a simple, he started selling vegetables. Okay. uh, there was an idea gallery he owned, like he had like about 2000 square feet of showroom. Okay, after lockdown, about 1.5 years, he changed his idea gallery to a mini supermarket. Now, lockdown rules don't apply, of course, and even factories are today running, but then getting the clients, there's different challenges. But then you can always find ways to repurpose your equipment for certain different things. You list down. This can be a simple raising the finance, and you say, okay, I'll continue to do that. I'll provide this product cheaper, efficiently, by cutting this cost, or come out with the new plan for your new business model, new product line, new service line, or any of those items which you can think you can do, and you list down that is an option. Okay, there are many of them. It can be like simply winding off the business. So one of our client, he had like marble industry. He had an inventory of like about 40 lakhs rupees worth of marble line. His factory, factory was like running only in one shift, marble cutting, Gangsa. Okay, so what he did, he changed. He gave he first stopped the production for about a year. Then he got the machine, gave it on contract for production. He changed his area, like one particular area, into a go down, and given it on rent. So he got a steady income. So this is one example, like this is what you can do. And then you keep adding and see all different 10 right, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things that you need to do to get to that. Okay. Now the thing is, like, you don't have enough resources for everything to do, right? So you take one or two based, and then you do prioritize based on the, not prioritize, I'll say you pick based on the sorting principles. And sorting principles would be aligned to what you want to be. So these sorting principles is like, let's say you say, okay, now I'm like, I have had enough, but I want to do some social service. So then validate those ideas against, or sort them, like give number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with certain weightage, and then sort them, saying that, okay, where this particular idea meets the target. Now comes is the plan. So 100 plan day, once you have sorted, okay, let me go to the next slide first. And so this is how something will be it will look like. You have a lot of options, you have different sorting principles, give some weightage, do some calculation, and say, okay, this option 1 is the best, or X, or N, option X is the best for our for what you are targeting in 3 years. So now comes is 100 day. So what you do is you check your resources and commit. Okay. So to do that, now the real data driven plan comes in. Okay. Where you have the hard reality that, okay, financial resources, where am I going to get it? And you do this iteration, how you will do it, how much you can commit, you can stretch yourself to this new cause, or do you need to give the full time, whatever. So that planning is more like a operational planning which you do. Then test on how you feel. Okay, here it is again the emotions comes in. So you see that you are implementing and how it is moving, implementing your plan and how it is moving and where it is triggering, whether you have some doubts that it will not work, because these doubts and are all natural response system of our collected data. Okay, so when you have doubts, certainly there must be something. Okay, and people call it some say gut feeling and all that. Okay, and you can train yourself to find out what is right, what would work for you. Okay, so these iterations you keep doing. Okay, you 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 change a little, and once you do this iteration, you will come out with some final where you feel that yes, this is what I want and I will do it. And once you get into it again, act and monitor, replan and plan forward. So these two are again. So here yourself, like you can say your own data or your own conscience will play at two places. One is what you want to be, and testing how you will feel when a particular change is taken place. Okay, so these two places. So no one is going to force a change on you. It is the change which you will feel right, you will feel good, and then act upon it. Okay, so these two plays and the enhance performance and at a peak, you can call
Sir,
it peak performance.
sir,
Yeah, sure.
slides are not moving, sir.
Okay, yeah. So which slide
And
am I on? Is there any change now? You can see it.
you're on slide number 5, sir.
Self, yes, CLF. You are there in the CLF.
Yeah. So if I change this, you see the change. Monitor, replan, and plan forward.
No, you need
Just
to, I think it is hanging, sir. So you need to reload it
Okay.
and request you to kindly, yes, sir, now it is. And
Okay. Let
please
me
keep
start.
your
Stop share, and I'll
mouthpiece
share.
closer to you, sir.
Sure. Oh yeah. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah. I think let me present it again. So
Yes, the presentation is on, sir.
yeah, sure.
It's on
So yeah.
slide number
So
6.
we are yeah. So monitor, replan, and plan forward. Okay. So that's where we do what do you call is like normal project management style monitoring. Okay, and keep doing. But when you do the replan, you ensure that uh, you revalidate and test whenever you do the replanning. Okay, so these are the two things, and the perspective which we are trying to bring is your vast amount of knowledge which you have. Okay, and these are all iterative process, and you deliver it. And this I've already shown you the slide. Yeah, so I think the slide is over. So let me give you a few more examples of what, like for so one of the client. Okay, it was a startup company. Okay, I think let me stop sharing it. I'll just give you the. So one of the client in Mumbai, he was because of he was running a fintech company. It's like about 3 years old company, and they had a good like 20 crore. It's not very good, but small 20 crore rupees worth of portfolio of lending and borrowing. It's in the P2P segment. Okay. Now, because of COVID, their new business have dwindled. People have moved their funds to more like different domain. Okay. Now, the investors, P2P lenders, like the lenders were not investing here because they were thinking there would be more higher risk, so they stopped lending on the platform. And the same way, because operation has stopped, so they are so the approach, then what they have done, they moved. We tried to get the investors, which was difficult because of the situation. whatever was prevailing, and then we moved into exploring how to exit from that. Okay, and that's where uh, 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 we explored, like we created the options, we found what are the options available, we tried that option, and we looked at the merging to another business, okay, which is larger in the size, whose book size is like, let's say, 300 crore. Okay, so these are all like different things which comes out from such exercise, which you might not have thought about. You can use your so when your connections or your customers, your relations, they come in play, they can help you in coming out with such different like opportunities. Okay, so this is one example. There are examples you would see around your neighborhood, like especially small shops guy, those who are selling. So there was one more company, I'll give you the example of that. So he was into the digital marketing business, like just 1.5 years, and celebrity social, what do you call, uh, digital celebrity promotions kind of thing on the digital platform. Okay, yeah, only 7 slides, yeah. So uh, digital so and then when it happens, of course they saw an opportunity. Okay, for businessmen it is business, right? Even if it is bad times, that's okay. So he immediately got into the PPM the uh, uh, mask manufacturing and PPE kit kit manufacturing, and he started with importing from China, and then later on he uh, started manufacturing locally. Okay, so this like shifting from one business to another business in shortest period of time and keeping your revenue line is good. The other options which like I have seen is some people have become the advisors, consultant, or even gone into the teaching. It's good. Some have one company who was into IoT business. They are still doing IoT business. They are still helping smart city. But then they got time, so uh, he launched a home bakery product, and doing fine. He has created a business out of it. So these are all possibilities. When you look around, you look at, and one good example I'll give you is like there was someone has converted one paint shop into which was like heat, which has like a heating compartment, which is of course when you have heating compartment, it has the insulation. So he converted into a cold storage. Okay, so these are all like possibilities for repurposing, and you can look at it, but then you evaluate really you want to do that or not. Okay, you want to commit your resources, you want to change your trajectory. So these all are done through this methodology. Yeah, I think I've taken 40 minutes here, good on time. Any question I can take up, I'm fine. Or
Thank you very much.
okay, so if any, just one more thing, you can reach out to like I think Shekhar, Suresh was I think one of like about few days back he has also spoken about a similar topic, and we continued on that. So you can also reach out to him if any more further help is needed on that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. The floor is open for questions. Before that, there is a question from Mr. B.S. Srinivasan. Please tell us more on neuro-linguistic practice.
Okay. So let us look at a child. How does he learn? Okay. So uh, it's mind game. You can find tons of things, and I'm not claiming to be. Uh, it's not a miracle. It is not a god. It is you, right? And that's where when we say like sometimes you can act it as a or you as a god. So what happens in neurolinguistic? It's like a computer. You okay? I'm not correlate with computers. Uh, so let's say a child who is in the cradle and he is like just watching parents. How does he learn walking? So he learns by observing his parents walking in the surroundings. So that's like, and how does it happen? He doesn't. There is no verbal communication. Okay, And of course, there are different knowledge which are divided into Indian system of religion. It is formulate. It's documented as a religious system in India, and I call it. It's the same thing which we have been doing for ages in India, but then we missed it because of this religion has become more like a sect kind of thing, and people started moving away from the religion. So those definition, like, so you have a knowledge, so that knowledge is acquired through what we call is modeling. Okay, so model means you always have role model. Okay, though somehow the vocab gel with that. I don't know why the word is like role model is role model. So what you do is you model that guy and you imitate. Okay, so say, okay, why should you imitate? But then when you imitate someone, what it means, you are actually replicating his behavior which he has created over the period. And when you see it, like, let us say if you go and sit with like a master guitarist, okay, and when he is playing, you just imitate him, saying that, okay, I'm learning, I want to learn guitar. And the old famous story of that Dronacharya teaching an Eklavya thing, okay, he didn't even go to like Dronacharya didn't teach him, but Eklavya became a super archer, right? And that's the whole concept of neurolinguistic programming. There is more and more it is possible, because three ways the communication happens. Everyone knows that. One is, of course, what you speak. Second is like body movement, which is visible. And third is, which is based on your mind or internal something which is not yet explored. Okay, and this communication is very simple. Like, suppose there is on the floor there are like employee working, and then suddenly a heavyweight person comes in. People's minds, state of mind changes, because they observe there are different. Some people call it aura, some people call it different, and I'll say it is pretty simple. It's another mode of communication which is not explored. And when that communication happens, and your neurons, your muscles, your, I don't know whether DNA or not, but whatever those internal organs, they start learning from it. And when they start learning, a child start walking. When you do that, so there are many things, and there is a lot can happen which can trick your mind, and it does. Like, there are many scientific and non-scientific videos are available. Why I'm saying non-scientific is there are many religious people, they play the game and make people do certain things. Some people call it hypnotism, some, and it's not hypnotism, like it's all your uh, uh, bringing the attention of that person, right? So when you give a talk, people listen to you. Why they listen? Because it sounds good. There is a tone in the talk. When you listen to music, you get like you get into it. So these are all like connected to what you call is, and then when you know this, you understand this, you can create methodology which can lead to reprogram your minds, state of mind. You can do many things. And I have not tried my personal, but I've seen many like many regular chronic diseases can be easily treated, like simple headache kind of thing, by the change of, because these all happens, these are all natural responses. So that's how it is.
There is a supplementary question, sir, by Mr. S.A. Selvamani. How to shift from an unresourceful state of mind?
Okay.
Sir, if you can kindly keep your mouthpiece closer to you, sir.
Capability. Sorry. It's a capability which one has to develop. Okay. There is, I'm sure every religion has somewhere to do it, first of all. But I'm not going. It is. I'm like after Corona, I've shifted away more from religion than after like whatever this Corona things, because I started looking into different aspect of it. So what I would say is, you look at, like, when you shift mind, there are one is simplest way is try to remember when you were the best. If you want to go from unresourceful to resourceful, okay. you can do some exercise, like a small exercise, attach that particular thing. Let's say the good time which you had with your family. Okay, attach with that with color. Okay, and color, like, so as soon as you see that color, you feel elated, right? And unfortunately, what happens? Some people connect that color, a particular color, to something, right? So, like, for example, natural response gives a certain color, let's say cassia color or saffron color, as let's say it is related to this particular religion, and then this happens and people start respond differently. Same thing, green different. So it's like a, rather than doing that, use color and first shift away from that definition of that a color is to do with something. No, it is not. It is, all colors are good. It's like spectrum, it's just a spectrum. Now connect that color with the right thing. Okay, so why black is because dark, you fear dark, that's why black becomes like a bad color, which is not. Black is equally good, right? So the same thing, so you to shift, like, it's not easy, like you cannot, so you develop that capability, and to develop the capability, it's something which you have to learn from masters. That's all I can say.
So there's a question from Sandhya S. Kindly explain things to be
Yes.
considered when you shift to a new business or a different business.
Okay, break the bridges, that's the old saying, right? Okay, there is no theory which is right for you. Even if someone say break the bridges, you don't have to. Okay, but what you need to do is practically in your mind you have to break the bridges. Okay, and that is what the change management work. That's where the change management works. You cannot say like, okay, burn the bridges or break the bridges. I don't know. I think I'm saying it wrongly, but so when that happens, you don't, you, like, it's a it's you don't have any other option, and you go and you have to fight the battle, right? That's the whole idea behind that. So that is like that is not the right, that's not alone. So you always have to, first is when you switch to a new business line, you have to actually see whether you are actually going to like it. And that is the exercise which I'm trying to say, that see yourself down the line, down the line after 3 years, and see what you want to do, whether you will really like it, whether this is what you are, that is what your interests are, whether it will give you the satisfaction, whatever those things which you are craving for. And on the other hand, once that is done, you can always work on the planning aspects, which is like more like conscious thing, right?
So there is a question from Mr. Praveen B, a difficult one actually. How do you overcome emotional barriers while exiting businesses? Yeah, you want to supplement, Mr. Praveen? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
Praveen.
you. Thank you. Good evening. So this is one of the questions which most of our micro and small businesses, because we come into a lot of, as you did that little analysis. And for us, it's like one-time opportunity in our life. We come and we probably, before we settle, now you have in these uncertain times, and maybe to shift, to do that kind of expansion, diversions in these uncertain, highly external factor implicated conditions. My only question is, where do you break the barrier? What is the right time to shift or right time to keep quiet? Because in these uncertain times, most of us only look at survival. So is there a timeline?
No.
Is
No.
there that
No.
single answer
No.
which you can give
No.
us?
No, it is not. There is no timeline, no barriers for anyone, and no need to break the barrier. Okay, see, limiting behavior which comes in the human because of certain beliefs which they have. Okay, and which are certainly again have been imbibed in you are imbibed in various things, and you generate a belief, and you start believing that, oh no, it cannot happen, so this is the barrier. Oh, I like only this much, so I will do that only. No, you can, today you are not a singer, tomorrow you can sing. That's as it yet. If you want to and if you like it, you can actually sing it. And I'm sure many leaders here are multi, and I always admired, like for example, so there is no barrier which you need to break. What is needed to be done is you need to develop capabilities to see yourself as a, like all those two things I talked about. One is shift and going into the high performance resourceful state of mind, and then looking at yourself down the line, planning, then plan, not plan because okay, I'm in trouble, right? Not responsive. It has to be more like what is happening. And taking a decision is like it's a and then you test it, right? I said like you test it. So testing also happens at a when, if you feel right, then only do it. And those that capability again you have to develop as you probably get guided by some people with those capabilities.
Yeah.
It's like same guru shishya kind of thing. And I'm not going to claim that I have all the capabilities. I'm also building my capabilities every day.
That's great. That's nice of you.
Mr. Suresh would like to supplement it.
I have one more small clarification. Sir, most of us, in fact, in comes to question of me, we always believe in our core competencies whenever we get into any kind of business, any kind of ventures. It is that core competency. It can be education, it can be right from your experience or a professional background, or doing something over a period of time. You gain some knowledge, expertise. So we again term it as a core competency. So do you think when we venture into or maybe shift to a new business, these core competencies are is one of the benchmark or a factor which we need to keep in mind? Maybe we are
Okay. See, there is nothing to be kept in the mind. Okay, this is like 10 rules. So there is no rules. I give you the example of colors. Many people associate black colors as a bad and white colors is good, right? Like fairy an angel is coming in white dress and someone from hell is coming in black, right? That's not right. Associating bad or good things with something is what is the limiting things. Now about the capabilities is something which is yours. Okay, and because of the market change, those capabilities may or may not be relevant, but certainly you can evolve those capabilities or transition those capabilities into something new. I cannot give any answer to that, or no one. You also don't know right now, but you can get yourself driven into that direction. Once you see what you want to be, then do the assessment, then follow this approach. Okay, this is like a reverse approach. I'm putting the dream as a reality which you see. Okay, dream is not like a something which is not practical. So you first see what you want to be, then work backward, see what you have as a resources, your capabilities, what additional thing is needed, build those capabilities in those 90 days, 1 year, define a plan and act on it, commit your resources, and then move. Without capabilities, I don't think I would advise. You don't want to put a 6-month-old child and say, okay, you stand on your feet and start walking, right? You don't want to do that. Let him get that strength, do the learning, and then he will himself start crawling and then walking and then moving on. So that's the whole approach. But it happens all naturally.
Shekhar.
Thanks.
Shekhar, yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Shekhar and Gandhi. Sharad,
Sure.
Nice inputs from you, but I would like to add to some points that you said and the question asked by Praveen. The last question first, he said about core competency. If you go to my website, tenoragroup.com, you will see meeting opportunities with core competency. I will answer a little more on this a little later. But about the strategy to exit and things, should we keep quiet? Should we let everybody know? How should we do it? There are three things about this. Business is always a secret proposition. You don't want a competitor to know what you're doing. So if you are exiting, if you are changing, you must do your homework and you're prepared to do it. You should do it in stealth. Today's pandemic, and you can do it more quietly because nobody will know what you're doing at home. And unleashing something is very, very important. Especially as Ramesh also said, if you are entering into a low barrier market, competition will come in flooding immediately. So if let's say one of the MSMEs start food business and they find that food business is succeeding in that in the area, every MSME will start food business in their local locality. I will suggest that if you are very good in this business of food, you all want to enter, then enter with a common brand name. Instantly, I will get a big brand across Karnataka that will be a popular brand for a food product. So we need to know how we want to enter a business or exit a business. It should be very, very smart. It should be in stealth, and it should be in speed, and it should have a good revenue coming back. So that emotion part, I don't know whether anybody touched or you spoke. The business part of separating, when you exit a business, diversify a business, many people are emotionally stuck to a business because it has given them the cash earlier, or they may have it as a thing which they don't want to release it. But I said that in business, that's not emotion has to be take a second seat. Big companies have hived off business. Akfa Gaviot had to give up that camera roll business to pave way for digital photography. So you cannot have certain business holding on just because it gave me good money in the past. The last part is today when you're looking at your NLP or anything of decision making has far more from the earlier days of thinking and deciding to today deciding and then thinking. You first decide something and then start thinking. But before that deciding happens, each one, I think all the entrepreneurs in this MSMEs today are so smart. They have gone through a phase of a non-internet era to an internet era. So they know both sides of the coin of how the decision making is done. And the decision making, quality decision making is today much more easier to do and to get away with it. So many companies which feel they are going to close down because of competition, because of no demand, because of no vendor supplies, because whatever, they have to be very practical. It's like a surgeon sitting on the operating table and a gangrene operation to be done. If that hand has to be cut off, it has to be cut off to protect the body. Today, that's the situation for many MSMEs. So those who are cash rich, those who know how to make the money and go about it, they are at advantage because they can invest their money in the business. They can start a new business without any money and still make money. So all the possibilities are there. And I would wish that all the MSMEs who have trouble, talk to people, talk to consultants, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends. Don't be isolated. You can be isolated, but don't be desolated. Don't be in desolation. Be in isolation, but don't be in desolation. You be network. This is the mantra. The reason why so many speakers we are all trying to gear up to address all the MSMEs is not because of GAN at 4 o'clock like the old days Vivad Bharati, 3:45 and we hear some songs. No, here it is a time to interact and see solutions to your normal problems, and we are there to help you. And Shekhar, I'm assuring to you, to all
Thank
the
you, sir.
members, that help is there.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. And Dr. S.M. Jagdish, sir, please go ahead, sir. Dr. S.M. Jagdish.
No, it has been addressed. Nothing. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Fine, sir. There's a question from Mr. Narayana Prasanna.
Let me. So on the emotional connection to your business you do, like I gave you the example. You think?
Sir, can you keep your mouthpiece closer to you, sir?
Sorry. So let me. So the guy I'm talking about, the P2P business startup, he has invested his prime 3 years of his business setting it up, and finally he had to let it go away. So you have to take that hard call, and what Suresh has mentioned is right, and you have to like it's not just one thing, but then you have to figure it out what is that to be done, and that's exactly what this whatever we are talking and we are trying to help you out with. Yeah, sure, please go ahead.
So there is a question from Mr. Narayana Prasanna. What are the key parameters to diversify the line of business or to exit?
Okay, that's the financial plan part of it, which I think Shekhar, you have asked me earlier that you are looking for financial planning.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
so the financial plan parameters, like of course, do you have time for to survive? Okay, are you just burning every day without coming out? And there are many parameters you can. So I'm like another expertise which I have in the financial planning and business planning things, which I did for many clients, is to define the KPI for the business, key performance index. Okay, and which, so there are like KPIs uh, pertaining to finance, but they are not enough. Okay, those KPIs are more or less like for investors, that okay, this is the return of investment and ROI, etc. But business KPIs are very specific, and it requires effort to derive those KPIs to make your business efficient. And to improve those KPIs, use all those technology like IoT, use whatever that is. So there is a whole methodology, and it's available. Like you can always find out how to define KPIs. There is a KPI a website, process website is there, like which defines almost
Sir,
industry wide processes
I
and their
want to
KPIs.
interrupt 1 minute, Gandhi.
Yeah.
Sir, many of us are thinking when to exit or diversify. Means when they have to decide to diversify their business, whether to continue or exit or diversify. What are the key factors or parameters to decide that? Yes, financially or business prospectus or something. It is in the interest of the members, I am asking.
Okay. And see, this decision, I'm telling you, you cannot decide today saying that, okay, I'm deciding it. But certainly you can start this exercise with the help of maybe some consultants. Okay. They will help you out in finding out what needs to be done for that business. Okay. You cannot decide based on just like so every business has its own line. And I said, a person who was running a digital marketing company is to PP, and now he has tens of crores of worth of revenue every month clicking. I think he's doing that.
Your audio is very
But,
poor, sir. Just keep your mouthpiece closer to you, sir.
yeah, sorry. So there is no direct like saying the when to decide that okay, this business is not working. It's when you want to take, you keep like you need to see whether this is what you want. Okay, if I go with this kind of methodology which I have proposed, then you have to look at what you want down the line. Okay, but and you can do that exercise today and then plan for next 3 months, where the output can be exit, output could be diversification, output could be anything out of those 10 options which you list down. Okay, and exit is not simple exit. Like you can say, okay, I can sell it to another my business to another big company, for example. It can be acquired by someone. Okay, so there could be like any of those options, but then it has to do with what you plan to do in 3 years, because then you are connected to your what you are seeing. So that's exactly so there is no decision when to decide. I said it's today. You start the process today. That's all I say.
No, Sharad, I'll just add
you-
to this. Sharad, 1 second. I'll just add to this
Yeah.
because most of these MSMEs from day one, if you've seen the topics have been almost connected to this exiting, diversifying,
Yes.
and changing, whatever. I will like to add to Mr. Prasanna's query. Mr. Prasanna, it's like this. If you all want to exit, the decision has to be because of money. Okay. If you're hard faced money, you can't put money into your business. You are losing business unless you have reserves to pay your salaries, your pay your vendors and things like that. It's not going to help. Just going into an that question, it's a very bad drawing process. If your business is going to be useful after a post pandemic and there is a huge potential for that product to be in demand, then you have to keep the thing in cold storage. If it is not, as I said, if it is not useful to the humankind, that business must be given a priority on a scale of 1 to 10, how much need it is. If it is not needed, wind up and start something else, because all are entrepreneurs, they can start something new. But if your product is not useful in the whole chain, if your product is not useful to the next in line, to the vendor, next vendor, and the end product, the whole people are not going to be in business tomorrow. So don't point wasting in time and say, okay, when the lockdown, now the lockdown is postponed for 2 months, then another 2 months. And by the time the 1 year or 2 years happen, the whole one balance sheet gets done. One financial year is lost. So let us look at how many years you can sustain the company without any resources, funding, I'm saying. The funding is going to be the most important thing. Collaboration can come easy. I said you can wind up your company and use somebody else's resources if you have a good brand. You don't have to have anything. You just have to buy some raw material, go to that company, ask him to produce it. So these are the strategies which I'm again and again repeating. List it down, write it down. As Sharad says, start now. If you have started now, you will have a time. Somebody can exit a company in 1 week, provided that asset, for example, is ready to sell and they can convert it to a construction plot. If the plot is somewhere very far into an industrial area where nothing can be done, that person is is going to stick with his land, it is machinery, everything gets stuck. But if you are in an area where the land can be sold and converted, you are sitting on a gold mine. So many parameters are there before you exit. And again, relations. If you are a one-man show, you can exit and go where nobody will ask you a question. But if you are in partnership with your relatives, friends, they'll all ask you a question. You go, we will continue. So these emotional stress busters are also there to be addressed. And there is a logical way to sit down calmly, think what is the future course of action and plan it out. It is difficult. As I said, MSMEs, a lot of them will have a huge turmoil in the days to come. Planning and thinking is the way forward. Transiting to better business alternatives is the way forward. I'm not saying everybody can invest in digital, but there are many methods of digital companies offering their services on a paid monthly service basis rather than buying the whole thing one go. You don't have to invest very huge. So let's look at practical solutions which are available. Meet daily as members. You can form your own committees. For example, organic company, inorganic company. You're talking DICE intermediate company. We call it in Chemexil. There are 5 different groups. Cosmetics company separate. Similarly, engineering, you bifurcate your companies, come together, and we'll thrash out solutions. Not difficult. Thanks.
Can we take one last question? Okay. Thanks a lot, sir, for the very comprehensive session today. We sincerely appreciate you for so readily agreeing to address our member companies today. I'm sure many of our members would have exhaustively benefited out of your insight. On behalf of Laghu Udyog Bharati, again, we thank you very much, sir. I would like to inform all the participants that on Monday, we have a very interesting session on the topic, Talent Management Strategies in Post-COVID-19 Environs for MSMEs. This session will be addressed by Dr. Atharwala and Dr. C.S. Balasubramaniam. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Shekhar.
We formally close the session today.
Thank you, everyone.